Hi everybody, welcome to our special Christmas edition of Big Balls Fantasy Football, the only show by real fantasy football fans for real fantasy football fans. Ho, ho, ho. I'm your co-host, 20-year fantasy veteran and fan of the Yeah, Damn It, We Beat the Browns, Chicago Bears, Greg Reifsteck.
And I'm your co-host, Jenilee Borek, a 10-year fantasy veteran. Obviously, I'm a Bears fan as well. We are in first place in the NFC North. Didn't see that coming, but it's been pretty awesome. Pretty awesome ride, I have to say.
Oh, yeah. And together,
we are the beauty
and the beast
of fantasy football experts.
So thank goodness, last night, the field goal that was heard around Chicago. Thank you very much, Mr. Tucker, for kicking that over 60-yarder to beat the Lions and get us solely in the first place. It's the Bears, season to screw up now. We control our own destiny. I love it. Thank goodness we beat the Browns and we're able to leave it in the hands of the Ravens.
And did you hear Tucker was interviewed after, and he was saying he did it for his team, but also for his fantasy team?
Oh!
I love that. I love that he said that. So, and I had him in fantasy, and all those field goals helped me beat Prost.
Yes.
So I'm now in the championship game in our biggest balls of them all league, and I'm in the championship game of another league. So I'm in 2 championships out of 3 leagues, and I came in 5th in the other. So I had to brag for a second because that's pretty good. That's pretty hard to do.
I actually have a little bit of bragging of my own to do. In my work league, unfortunately, I lost, so I'm in the... But I still can come in 3rd and get some kazash. So that'd be nice. So John's team in our league at work, I'm coming to get you this week. And Section 357, who were on our show earlier this season, I somehow have pulled the season out of my ass, came out as 6th, and sorry, Trey, I had to take you down, and I took you down pretty hard. So thank you, Des Bryant and Tony Romo, for helping me out on that, even though you shit the bed in your own game. But hey, I will take 2 championship games, and 1 third-place game any season. I think it's great.
Yeah, and you beat, Trey was number 1, so knocked out number 1, and that's the one I came in 5th, so, yeah. But I had a good team. I made a wrong play in the playoffs and got knocked out. The points were there. They were just on my bench, unfortunately, but yeah, it's okay. 2 championships. I'm ready for it.
Now, Jenilee isn't expecting this because this isn't scripted. But this is the beauty of doing a video cast. The best gifts you are given at Christmas are the gifts you never expect. So
oh, no.
I am giving, in honor of our Bears victory, my Christmas present to you.
Oh, awesome. Walter Payton card set. I love it.
Numbered.
I absolutely love it. Well, thank you. That is such a great gift. And I didn't expect it, so now I'm in trouble because I don't have a gift for him on the video cast.
No.
But this is so awesome. It's just, I love, getting the Bears history stuff, especially since I didn't get to be around for those days. But I've been well educated, so... And so perfect because we're in first place, like I mentioned. So
that's why I thought you'd enjoy it. You can enjoy the past of the Bears, and pass it down to your children from generation to generation.
I know. I told you when I filmed the Ditka video, I filmed it on my TV when he was giving his speech when his number was retired, and Greg was having some fun and yelling some things out, and I was like, I'm going to show my children this someday, and they're going to hear you say, fucking cold in Chicago. So.
Uncle Greg lost control, drinking a little bit too much of the Kona Big Wave in celebration. So, because it is the last show, we are going to give awards just like we did on our podcast last year, and we're going to have Jenilee go first and give her Real Man of the Year award.
Awesome. So for my Real Man of the Year, I had to do it because I have him on one of my teams that I'm hoping to win the championship, so I'd love it if he goes off this coming week too. But is running back Jamal Charles. I don't know how I can't give this award to him. he has been absolutely amazing all season. He has 1,836 all-purpose yards and 18 total touchdowns, and there's still 2 games left in the season. I think he's easily going to go over 2,000 all-purpose yards. PPR-wise, he's had 65 receptions. That's more than a lot of wide receivers out there.
Yeah.
That's more than Dwayne Bowe, who is supposed to be their number 1 wide receiver on that team.
Damn right.
So he's out there doing it all. And, of course, he had 5 touchdowns last week. Helped me move on. But my team was doing good even without those. But 5 touchdowns, just he's playing outstanding. So I drafted him first. He was a great first-round draft pick.
Definitely a good real man of the year, and I get to coin another phrase. At the beginning of the season, because of his 7 touchdowns, I said you got Manninged. You know what you did to people, Jenilee? You Jamal'd them.
I Jamal'd them. I Jamal'd Trey. So I Jamal'd my boyfriend. That was pretty awesome, I have to say.
Yeah. So speaking of Manning, I'm going to give my award this year for my Beast of the Year. And, of course, it has to go to Peyton Manning. I mean, there were a lot of doubters out there that thought he's not going to be able to make as many touchdowns as he made last year. Of course, he just scorches in the first game, goes completely ballistic, and gets 7 touchdowns, Mannings everybody. And then everybody thought he wasn't going to keep up the pace. But, oh, no, he did. He has over 4,800 yards this season, 47 touchdowns, 10 picks in there. He never used to be as pick-heavy, but you know, when you're throwing that many touchdowns, there's going to be interceptions in there too. He's just passing like crazy on this team, even though Nosha Moreno is doing pretty well for you as well. It's a pass-happy team. Too many targets to go to. You have Wes Welker, who's concussed now, sorry, just in time for the playoffs, but now you have Eric Decker, as I gave you a few weeks ago. You have Demaryius Thomas. You have Orange Julius, who's injured right now as well. But just tons and tons of targets to throw to. And, he had one bad week, like one really horrible week in week 11, where he got you less than 2 touchdowns, only got 1 touchdown. He got 323 yards.
It's one bad week.
But he gets you 323 yards in his bad week. Then he bounces back against Kansas City in week 13 and trounces him for 403 yards and 5 touchdowns. It's just a no-brainer. He gets the award by a long shot. And
still, that touchdown to interception ratio is still out of control.
Oh.
Like it's still amazing.
Oh.
So, and he's going for the touchdown record of it's 55, I think is the record that Brady has. So he is most likely in the next 2 games gonna maybe surpass that. So yeah, he's been awesome. So yeah, Greg had to put his poster up. Of course, we had to put Manning up.
Yep. Love my Manning. Cool. So, are we ready for our real men this week?
Yeah, let's get into it. I got 3 more real men as always.
The last 3 of the season. Stay tuned.
I need a real man. Have you seen him?
So welcome to week 16 of my Real Men segment. We are obviously doing the Christmas special. That's why I have my little Santa hat on. We're close to Christmas, and I actually get to go back to Chicago on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. But I have 3 real men this week for you to throw in your championship round, and that's it. You know, this is the last one, so hopefully you guys can win the championship round. I know, like I said, I'm looking to try to win in 2 different leagues. So I know my real men have been, I don't know, they've been a little iffy for the playoffs, but I think these are 3 good ones for sure. So my first real man this week is quarterback Andy Dalton. Now, I know he didn't have the best game against the Steelers, but he also didn't have the worst game. He came out okay fantasy-wise on that game. But this week, he is playing the Vikings, so his matchup is great. I actually picked him up, and I'm putting him in instead of Romo. They both have good matchups, but I just like Dalton this week better. So the Vikings are giving up an average of 306 passing yards and 46 fantasy points to quarterbacks per week. That is pretty good. I know I'm hoping for 2 to 3 touchdowns out of Dalton. And the Bengals play a lot better at home. They are actually undefeated at home, and Dalton is averaging 23.45 fantasy points when he's at home. Like I say, if you have good running backs, wide receivers, and such, you only need about 20 points out of your quarterback. If they get 30 or 40, then that's just awesome. But if he can get 23, that's pretty good. And he only has 1 interception in the last 3 weeks. I know that's a problem. He throws a lot of pick sixes, and he can kind of be interception crazy. But like I said, he only has 1 in the last 3 weeks, none in the last 2 weeks, and no fumbles in the last 3 weeks. So he's taking care of the ball a lot better, which is what we need in fantasy, especially in the championship round. And the Vikings allowed Foles over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. Again, their secondary is not getting it done. This matchup is great, so go ahead, get Dalton in your lineup, and I think he'll ball out. And my second real man this week is running back Frank Gore. Now, I had him in a league this year, and he was in my flex position a lot. He's had some games that haven't been so amazing, but he has still been Frank Gore, and he has been getting it done. Now, I have to pick on Atlanta again this week because they are only 29th against the run. I know I picked on them last week and told you to start Alfred Morris, which he did good. He almost had 100 yards, no touchdowns, and you would have gotten more fantasy points from him had he not fumbled twice. So I don't think Gore is going to have a problem with that this week. San Francisco likes to run the ball. Gore already has over 1,000 yards on the season, so that's showing you he's definitely getting the carries. He's already over 1,000. You know, there's still 2 games left in the season. And Gore has rushed. He's had 242 rushing attempts on the season, and he's only fumbled 3 times. So in the championship game, again, I'm looking for people that are taking care of the ball. They're not fumbling the ball, or quarterbacks that aren't throwing interceptions. And he's been doing great with not fumbling. And they're playing at home in San Francisco. This is the last time that they're going to be in Candlestick Park. I think it's going to be a really special home game for the 49ers. They've been playing pretty great lately, so get Gore in your lineup, and he should get you some fantasy points. My third real man this week is a 4 balls pick. I had to give a ballsy pick because this is big balls fantasy football. So this one is a 4 balls on the scale, but if it works out, it will be nice. It is tight end Zach Miller. That's Seattle's tight end. And again, this is a great matchup. I know he hasn't been balling out by any means this season, but it's the matchup that I like. I'm picking on Arizona again as well because they are still the worst team against tight ends. I had Delaney Walker against them last week of the Titans, and he caught 8 balls for 53 yards and a touchdown last week. They are just not getting it done against tight ends. They haven't all season, and I don't think they're going to start anytime soon. And this game should really be a defensive battle. Seattle is first in overall defense, and Arizona is 7th. And they're playing up there in Seattle, which is obviously a very difficult place to play. Luckily for Miller, it's his home field. But Arizona is first against the run. They're only 17th against the pass. So I know Seattle likes to run the ball with Marshawn Lynch, and he's an amazing running back, but they are going against a defense that is first against the run. They're not very good against the pass, so Russell Wilson is going to be able to pass the ball a lot. And Miller had a touchdown against Arizona in Week 7, and he had 2 touchdowns against Jacksonville in Week 3. Jacksonville is another team that is not very good against tight ends, and he had 2 touchdowns in that week against them. So even though he's not doing great every week and he's not doing great against every defense, he's getting it done, and he's getting in the end zone against defenses that are not good versus tight ends, and Arizona is a good matchup this week for him. So those are my 3 real men. I obviously hope they get lots and lots of points this week since it is the championship games. And Greg has 3 Beast Mode picks, his last 3 of the season for everyone. Who will go into Beast Mode for the championship game? He will let you know. So we are taking it to Greg.
everybody, welcome back to Big Balls Fantasy Football. 'Tis the season for really good Beast Mode picks. And I'm here, Greg the Beast, to give them to you picks so scary, they're going to send a Grinch running into the corner to cry. My first pick, I already have sung his praises in the intro and already gave him my Beast of the Year award. It's Peyton Manning, quarterback of Denver. Of course, he had kind of an off week last week in the loss against San Diego. He got 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Now, when that's a bad week in fantasy, I'll take it. I managed to use those points to win one of my semifinal rounds and get into the final round. I'm pretty damn happy with it. Now, this week, he's playing the Texans. And we know the Texans are just in automatic mode, just trying to get through the season. Denver are just juggernauts right now. You have a few players out. You have Wes Welker out. You have Lawrence Julius probably going to be out. You still have Demaryius Thomas. You have Caldwell this week. You have plenty of targets still left. There's no reason not to put him in. It's the Texans. They suck. That's all you need to know. Get him in your lineup. My second beast for you this week, I'm wearing his number. Good old number 22 of the Bears, Matt Forte. He has just been balling out this season, going crazy. Wow, I wonder why he's doing that. Maybe it's because the Bears actually have a damn line this year. It's quite amazing what your running back can do when you actually have the tools for him to use and can actually make the holes for him. Also, we have Trestman as coach, so he really likes using him around the outside, throwing to him as he's in motion out of the backfield. We know Matt Forte doesn't go up the middle well. Trestman, stop doing it. Just be done with it already. Forte has 7 touchdowns this year, 1,200 yards. Are you kidding me? It's amazing. Now this week, Forte is going against a very, very iffy run defense on the Eagles. Not, of course, as iffy or horrible as the Bears run defense that's going to let McCoy run roughshod over him for probably 120 yards. But the Eagles run defense is at least going to let Forte go for 100, if not 120. Forte in the last 3 games has gotten 4.7 yards per carry average. He's also gotten at least 20 passes and 100 yards per game. He is going crazy. He is going to not only be a gift this Christmas for the Bears to get us into the playoffs, but he's going to be a gift that's going to help you win your championship game. My third beast for you this week is who I'm calling Mr. Reliable. He hasn't been super strong in fantasy, but he has been consistent in points. Prost hasn't been too crazy about him and even picked him as his one-hit blunder one week. I love him. Doug Baldwin, wide receiver on Seattle. In the last 6 games since Sidney Rice went down, he has been super, super consistent and has actually, yardage-wise, become Mr. Wilson's number 1 receiver. Unbelievable. Last week against the Giants, in Week 15, he went 6 for 11 and got you a touchdown. He's been averaging 4.3 catches for 66 yards and 4 touchdowns over the last 6 games. Like I said, Mr. Reliable will get you 1 touchdown, will get you 2 touchdowns. He isn't going to break that 100 yards for you. But in PPR leagues, he's been getting the receptions. As long as you get about 12, 13 points out of him, as Jenilee always says, if you get 20 to 30 points out of a player, it's kind of a fluke. You get all your players in those double digits, you're going to win your championship game. So next, we are going to have for you Prost, who, let's see if he's into Christmas spirit or not, but I know he's going to be giving out some awards just like we've been giving out, especially his Blunder of the Year, as well as his Most Injured Player of the Year, the Hernia of the Year award. And, of course, he's going to be giving you his one-hit blunder pick for the following week to make sure you don't play that player in your championship game. We're here with Prost from the Man Cave in San Diego next. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, this is Smash
And AJ.
and we are here at my 6th annual Ugly Sweater Christmas party. So wait, Adrian, didn't the Patriots beat the Broncos?
Well, didn't the Chargers beat the Broncos?
Oh, I guess Christmas came early this year for us.
Big Balls Fantasy Football's wishing you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year's,
and good luck with your fantasy Super Bowl.
Welcome back to Big Balls Fantasy Football. Now we have Prost here from San Diego Skyping in. He is our Packer backer, cheesehead guy, expert, I have to say. And he has the injury report for everyone this week. And it's the most important week. We got to hear about these injuries because you are now in the championship round of your playoffs if you made it that far. And I hope you did. So, Prost, how you doing?
Ho, ho, hoes. How you doing?
We're good. We got our Christmas theme going.
You missed the memo.
Yeah, I don't have any Santa gear, unfortunately. I guess I'll work on that for next year.
But you have a beard. But you have a beard like we don't. So.
Yeah, I just paint it white. We'll just kind of do some Photoshop with it.
There you go.
Jenilee, first off, congratulations on taking down the former #1 seed. Wish you good luck only because if I'm going to lose, I want to lose to the best. That's just the way it is. And you did it without having Jamal Charles on the roster, which we'll get into in the show tomorrow. I have a personal problem with that. Let's get down to the injuries.
Thank you for being a good sport, by the way. For all of you out there, I beat Prost this week in the playoffs, so I'm moving on to the championship. But thank you for being a good sport. But anyways, how did your injuries?
I could go through the Arizona injuries, but they're playing in Seattle. Do you want them anyway?
Sure, give us one or two.
Okay. Fitzgerald got concussed at the very end of the game last week, so it looks like he's going to be out with the concussion protocol. Carson Palmer's ankle, he's going to be looked at throughout the week, and Ellington's got a thigh bruise. They're probably going to play, but again, you are playing in Seattle. Who cares? Giants, Victor Cruz concussed, and if that wasn't bad enough, he's got a knee sprain, so he's got to go with both if he wants to get back on the field. Brown, the Indy running back, has a neck stinger. That's going to be watched throughout the week. It doesn't look too good for him right now, but Sunday's quite a ways off. And Cincinnati Gresham, the tight end, he hurt his hip. That's another one he may be able to play through. We'll see. And we might want to have a look at Flacco's ankle after last night. A little bit of an adrenaline and tape probably helped, but he might have been a little gimpy this morning. Cecil Shorts got put on IR today, so we won't be seeing him anytime soon. Biggest injury of the year, the man who gets my award as the doom injury for fantasy goes to Gronkowski.
Way to go, Gronk.
Yeah,
way to go, Gronk. Sorry, AJ.
People drafted him on draft day. People picked him up early off the waiver wire, knowing that when he came back, he was going to be a force. His first game was October 20th, and over the course of the season, he had 39 catches, 592 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He did that from October 20th till December 8th. So he, in that 5-week span, had a season for most players. Unfortunately, just time for your fantasy playoffs, he destroyed his knee, and he probably won't be around until late next year again. So,
you know,
that gotcha.
And not to cut you off, but I heard like the early reports that he'll be, ready for week 1 next season. And I just, you gotta love those early reports because he hasn't even gone through the surgery yet. And they're already trying to say he'll be back for week 1, which I highly doubt. So,
yeah.
So. Well, it looks like RG3 proved that Adrian Peterson was a fluke. I mean, RG3 just wasn't there this year, whether it was the system, the lack of faith in his knee, whatever. He did not recover as well as Peterson did.
Well, congratulations, Gronk. And let's go into our one-hit blunder segment.
Yeah, the blunder that I picked this last week was Obaniah, the running back for Cleveland, who was going to be taking on the Bears. And everyone thought, oh, yeah, this is the guy. It's the Bears. It's going to be a walk in the park. He got you 7 yards rushing, caught 5 passes for 39 yards, and that was pretty much his day. I love proving NFL.com wrong. I had a pretty successful year picking out their big boys and saying why that was a mistake not to do it. Hopefully you'll listen to me and grab other people. Maybe Asiata from Minnesota. No one saw that one coming, but well, I'll get that tomorrow as well.
Well, the note is I won't blow the Asiata thing for you, but I didn't have a choice, and Ognoya was the best on the board, so I had to throw him in. And you, Jenilee is my witness. I was swearing at the top of my lungs at this guy Baker that they throw in, off the practice squad. They took him off at 6 days before, and they got him in there running like crazy.
And the great part was our Bears actually didn't give up 150 or 200 yards rushing, which I did predict. I predicted we wouldn't give up even 100. So I think we were under 100 this week. So good job, Bears defense. I'm sure it's going to be terrible against LaShawn McCoy again, but at least we handled it there in Cleveland. So that's a good blunder post.
Yeah. And for the fans of the show that follow the week-to-week blunders, I had a successful season. I'm going to say once again, telling you why you shouldn't play people. The blunder of the year, however, I actually fall into the category of suckering in for myself in one of my leagues. Watched him take a non-contact fall in the last preseason game, or game before the last one. And it looked bad. He had a hip pointer thing. People were questioning, would he be healthy in time? But the press came out and said, he'll be just great. And he had a subpar year at best. This year's blunder of the year, Ray Rice. He got you 605 yards and 4 touchdowns, and that includes a 131-yard performance against the Bears.
We're glad we could help out, Ray. We're glad us players could help out.
For PPR purposes, he had 49 catches, 263 yards, but never saw the end zone. So he had quite a subpar year. Check again with us tomorrow. I've got more facts on him to reinforce why, if you grab Ray Rice against my better judgment, probably yours, it was a major blunder this year.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with their offensive line. Their O-line is not performing very good. They're not holding up in pass protection all that great. But, like we all know, if you don't have that offensive line to open up those holes, that's a big problem. So.
Well, they also, on the Ravens, didn't have the receivers that they had last year to stretch the field. So they were able to run Ray Rice like crazy underneath. But now they knew that they weren't going to pass the opposing teams. So Ray Rice didn't quite have those holes to run through as he did the season before. So definitely a good call. And I fell for Ray Rice in one of my leagues too, and hung in there with him as long as humanly possible, but just had to drop him eventually.
Okay, pros. Well, thank you for that injury report and those blunders, of course. And you'll be on our podcast tomorrow, correct?
Yes, I will.
Awesome. So he'll give you more stuff from there. And we are going to move on after this short break and get to Cash. He's going to bring out his Cash book one last time to give you some gambles of the week. Again, this is the most important week, so come back and listen to Cash's gambles.
I will get you guys later. So long.
Bye, pros.
Bye. All right, everybody, welcome back to Big Balls Fantasy Football. Because it's the final show of the regular season, we had to bring Cash in with his Cash book to give you 3 gambles of the week. In case your lineups are in really dire need going into that championship game, Cash is here to help you out with some really unique out-of-the-box picks to fill in that lineup and get you some points. How's it going, Cash, there in Texas?
Hey, Jenilee. Hey, Greg. Going real well. It's warmer here than it is in the cold places such as Green Bay and Minnesota and Detroit. So it's going well.
And he got the memo. He wore a Christmas hat.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. There's reason to be joyous because of where the Bears are, so at this juncture in time. So anyway.
Indeed, indeed. All right, give us those gambles.
Well, I'm going to say the best for last, but let's lead off with Kirk Cousins. What the Washington Redskins, a quarterback, coming in for RG3, as we know, was kind of a debacle. Redskins have had a tough seasons, but he looked very capable of them, and he's going to do really well. He's going to put up some numbers. I imagine if your quarterback is injured, you need to pick somebody up. Go pick him up. He's good for 2-3 touchdowns in the next 2 weeks.
I was going to say Dallas's defense is playing terrible, as we saw against Green Bay. So I think he can easily get 2 to 3 touchdowns. I like that one.
Especially if Dallas gets ahead. For some reason, Dallas lets teams come back in the second half, I hear.
Yeah, he'll be throwing a lot.
Who's your next one?
The next one guy who just came back from major hip surgery is Dennis Pitta. He's not somebody new, Baltimore Ravens, who's a proven tight end, but he was on the shelf for a while, and he's slowly making it back. I believe in the last previous game, before the Lions game, he had about 6 receptions for 50 yards. Flacco is beginning to look for him more and more. This is a run-oriented Ravens team that's improving, and is going to need that out. And that's what Dennis Pitta is going to provide. So if you need a tight end, go pick him up. What do you think about that, guys?
I like that one a lot. I mean, Prost gave his blunder of the season as Ray Rice, so we know the Ravens' running game has just been really, really horrible. So Pitt is a great choice this week because, as you say, they need somebody to throw to, and the receivers haven't been burning it up either.
And I think Pitta, is Flacco's like safety blanket, really. So I think when he's in trouble or looking for someone, he looks Pitta's way. So I like that one. So who's your last one, Cash?
So my third one and last one for the season, according to my cash book, is Jay Cutler, who's had a tough season, up and down, especially with injuries. And, there's some controversy with Josh McCown doing so well. He should come back. But I really believe the Cleveland game gave him the opportunity to get some of the things out. And the next 2 games, especially with some of the defenses they're facing, the Vikings put up 48 points on the Philadelphia. I think he's going to do real well. He still may throw a pick or 2, but I think he's probably going to register somewhere in the vicinity of probably 5 TDs in the next 2 games. And, Bears, everything's on the line. They've got a incredible, the best passing game that this franchise ever seen. So go get him, Jay. What do you guys think?
Go get him, Jay. He definitely, I like him, and I always defend him, and he makes it hard for me to defend him when he throws those interceptions. But like you said, our receivers have just been making so many plays. He doesn't have to do it all on his own. Forte's been making plays, so I think it's great. I think, again, Philly's not a good defense, like you mentioned. I think he should have at least 2, maybe 3 touchdowns.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's awesome. So, we have come to the end of our Christmas spectacular here on Big Balls Fantasy.
He didn't give his award.
Oh, we need the award.
So here we have the first ever BOLAS GRANDE Award. And that, this year, goes to Phillip Rivers, who nobody expected to do real well. He's stepped up big time. Of course, he's had help with, coming from that unexpected wide receiver Allen. But he's made it happen with Eddie Roll as well, and give him a lot of credit for stepping up and being able to deliver on the field and on the fantasy page.
He's just had a ton of touchdowns this year, and except for a few games where he's beaten himself, I think he's really brought it on, especially yardage-wise. I mean, every game he's been reliable yardage-wise. If he's burned you on the interceptions, he's at least made it up, gotten you like 300 yards. I think it's a really good gamble that people took out of the box, and I think it paid off.
Yeah, and he wasn't drafted on most teams. I mean, he was out there on the waiver wire, so that's a great gamble award for our first one.
Well, as we said, this was the year of the quarterback on our show, and quarterbacks are plentiful out there. So yeah, he was still sitting out there, and unfortunately, people went with like Tom Brady, like I did, and got burned quite a few weeks on it. So you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's the beautiful world of fantasy.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just luck. That's what we say.
All right. So what are you doing for Christmas, Cash? What's it like there at the Cash household for Christmas?
Well, it's going to be very quiet. I don't think anybody may be here because we're all going to be in Southern California.
That's right.
Maybe joining you for one podcast episode and checking out the Packers-Bears game at Tinhorn Flats, and well as checking out the great weather and the attractions that Southern California has to offer. So hopefully we'll be cheering on the Bears to a division title as well.
Yeah, I hope so. And you're going to love Tinhorn, so I won't be there, but you're going to absolutely love it.
It's going to be the big rock candy mountain of games, the Packers versus the Bears, for the division, more than likely. Yeah. So you're coming for a great game.
More likely.
Yeah. So we're at the end of our Christmas spectacular here. Us bros and us hoes in the hats.
Hey, watch it.
Well, then you can be a bro. I'll be a hoe. How's that sound?
I like that.
All right. See, we're equal opportunity here at Big Balls Fantasy Football. You can catch our more picks on our podcast at blogtalkradio.com/GRR and get more picks for your playoff pleasure to have you win that championship game. You can also, of course, tweet us your questions at BigBallsFBall.
Absolutely. Be sure to tweet us. I was on Twitter kind of going nuts with that Lions-Ravens game last night, so I was actually tweeting. Mm-hmm. But also go to our hub, BigBallsFantasyFootball.com. We have all of our past shows on there, all of our bios, great pictures. So we have so much on there for everyone to check out. And like us, spread the word on Facebook. It's facebook.com/BigBallsFantasyFootball. Tell all your friends. We'll be back here for the Tinhorn finale. We're going to do a Super Bowl show. We have a ton of stuff coming in the off season as well. Mm-hmm. So go hit us up.
More retro shows. Catch our old retro shows on our YouTube channel, Big Balls Football. And you can catch up on the season because we're going to continue on the Bears Super Bowl season after this. Hopefully we've won a Super Bowl by the time we do those shows.
That would be nice.
Yeah. That'd be a really nice past Christmas gift. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you're celebrating. Best wishes from us here at Big Balls.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, and thank you, Cash.
Yeah,